Tonight, Chicago gets ready for a big political show and braces for the possibility of unrest.
I'm really excited to see a woman up there. I'm really excited to see a person of color.
Anticipation and heightened security on the eve of the Democratic National Convention. Severe weather wreaks havoc in Ontario with record-setting rainfall and a tornado touchdown.
It was very scary. You just don't think it's going to happen to you.
The calls for climate change mitigation. And little critters that could solve a big problem.
How do you convince people to start feeding their farm animals this?
How bugs could feed the animals that feed us.
From CBC News, this is The National with Christine Barak.
Thanks for joining us. Ian is away. In just hours, the Democratic National Convention will kick off in Chicago. Excitement is high for the new presidential ticket, one that looked very different just weeks ago.
Yes, it is about winning, and we will win. And we will win. And we will win.
Today, Kamala Harris fed off some of that energy at a campaign event in the critical battleground state of Pennsylvania. In Chicago, tens of thousands of delegates and supporters are beginning to arrive. The race for the White House has already been transformed, but Democrats hope this week will solidify their momentum as Harris accepts the historic nomination on Thursday. Here's the view inside tonight with preparations underway. Security is tight at Chicago's United Center. Katie Simpson is in Chicago to show us the growing wave of enthusiasm and what could possibly disrupt it.
Cutting through a cloudy and drizzly Sunday in Chicago, the very real sense of joy and relief emanating from Democrats ahead of their party's convention.
The mood is very, 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 very excited.
It feels like people are definitely just excited that someone new is in the ticket and has like a better chance to win.
Vice President Kamala Harris heads into the DNC with a newfound sense of momentum. Democrats are doing better in national and swing state polls ever since President Joe Biden stepped aside and endorsed her.
When you first learned that Kamala Harris would be the candidate, what did you think and how did you feel?
I said, of course she is. I said, of course she is. A black woman has to come in and fix everything again.
I'm really excited to see a woman up there. I'm really excited to see a person of color. And to me personally, as a voter, what's going to make my vote is somebody that I can tell my children I'm not embarrassed as my president.
President Biden is one of the party elders who will deliver a primetime speech this week, along with Barack and Michelle Obama and Bill and Hillary Clinton. But the official message of this gathering could be overshadowed.
So what I'm expecting is that we're going to have thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people out in that beautiful park right there.
Protesters angry with the White House for its support of Israel in the war in Gaza will march around the convention site. No change in plans just because Democrats have a new candidate.
So many people who feel like they've been abandoned by the Democratic Party, and I think that they're going to withhold their vote.
Protesters will not be allowed into the secure perimeter, which is typical for a modern political convention, and hopes remain high. All will remain peaceful.
Katie, you talk about all of the excitement you're hearing from Democrats, but they must have some concerns.
They do. No one really wants to get ahead of themselves. The Democrats we spoke with say this is a moment in time. There is plenty of election campaign left. And American politics in this moment, it is so unpredictable. Look at what's happened over the last month alone. Now, when it comes to the protests, there is some concern as well. We spoke with protest organizers. They don't think there's going to be any violence. Their number one concern is how they're going to be treated by police. Some people who live here, though, we spoke with them. They're concerned that the protests could become volatile, if not violent.
Katie Simpson in Chicago for us tonight. Katie and our CBC News team will be at the DNC all week long, and we'll have extensive coverage here on The National, bringing you the major speeches as they happen, beginning with President Biden's address tomorrow, VP pick Tim Walz on Wednesday, and Kamala Harris's formal nomination acceptance on Thursday. Here in Canada, cleanup is underway in parts of southern Ontario after a stormy weekend caused substantial flooding and a tornado. Lisa Shing shows us the damage and the danger that led to a rescue on a major roadway.
One of the busiest highways in the Greater Toronto area, now submerged.
There was one car where the occupants were stranded or stuck in the car. The other two had self-evacuated, so they were on the side of the highway.
5 cars got stuck here. Now that the passengers are safe, fire crews are clearing debris so the water can drain properly. This work going on for the second day now, after flooding caused roads to turn into rivers.
Yesterday we saw 22 water rescues in 3 separate locations, and then in addition to that we had 8 elevator rescues.
Severe weather also hit other parts of southern Ontario. In the town of Ayr, about an hour and a half west of Toronto, cleanup is underway after a tornado touched down Saturday morning.
We all went to the basement, got my dog, and happened very quick, like 5 seconds it was over. And yeah, we came outside, looked around, everything was ruined.
There are no reports of injuries, though many homes and a business were damaged. Half of Diana Barber's roof now gone.
It was very scary. Yeah, it was very scary. But you know, it's funny, you just don't think it's going to happen to you.
Toronto's Pearson Airport saw a record 128 millimeters of rain Saturday in what's already been the rainiest summer on record. In July, heavy rain shut down major roadways in Toronto, including a major highway. It left drivers stranded and the busiest transit hub in the country at a standstill.
That is exactly what's predicted to happen with climate change. As the hot air gets hotter, it holds more water, and so we get more rain.
Experts are urging all levels of government to find ways for cities to better weather the effects of climate change.
When we think about sewer systems and stormwater systems, you know, it's like expensive to upgrade. So we do need to invest.
Lisa, what is the political appetite to put money into these projects?
Well, Christine, experts like the one I spoke with say because people, voters, aren't completely on board with spending the money and in a timely manner, there's not a whole lot of political incentive to make it happen and quickly. Now, some are calling for a national assessment of Canada's infrastructure needs in the long term. That's something the federal government promised in 2021, but so far, not a lot of movement on that. A spokesperson for the infrastructure minister says it's currently establishing an advisory committee in order to do that assessment.
Thanks, Lisa. Lisa Shing in Toronto. A boil water advisory has been lifted for residents in eastern Montreal 2 days after a major water main break. The break triggered a massive geyser, flooding dozens of nearby homes and businesses. Officials say it will be weeks until the water main, along with the affected roads and sidewalks, will be fully repaired. People are taking stock of the damage in Bermuda tonight after Hurricane Ernesto slammed into the island. The storm's now churning toward Atlantic Canada, where it should remain offshore. But as Nicolas Seguin explains, it still poses a threat to the region.
Bermuda's streets showing the aftermath of Hurricane Ernesto's force. The storm brought waves, pounding rain, and flooding Saturday, knocking out power for tens of thousands, closing the international airport and forcing people to shelter inside.
They are flat out trying to restore the island.
Bermuda's government taking stock of the damage on Sunday, with Puerto Rico and parts of the United States also left reeling.
Oh my God!
Panic in North Carolina as this home collapsed, swept away by massive waves. And as the storm moves north, officials are warning Atlantic Canadians to be wary of these same swells.
The waves from the storm are huge and spread out quite over a very large area.
For some, these waves are welcomed, but others warn they could be deadly.
You get knocked down and you lose your footing and you're face down in the water and you just get ready to get your footing and get up again and you get slammed down again.
Ahead of the storm, 2 ferry crossings from Nova Scotia to Newfoundland have been canceled. And in Newfoundland, some emergency response protocols have been activated to keep phone and internet services running.
And though meteorologists are not expecting the worst this time, Experts warn this hurricane season could still be worse than usual.
I'd be surprised if nothing formed before September, given all the, the conditions are ripe for storms, warm water, atmosphere. Yeah, it's all set to go.
Forecasters say Atlantic Canadians shouldn't get too comfortable because another hurricane could be right on Ernesto's tail. Nicola Sagan, CBC News, Halifax.
To the war in Gaza now, where the U.S. Secretary of State is in Tel Aviv to boost negotiations for a ceasefire. And as Katie Nicholson shows us, just hours before he arrived, Israel launched more airstrikes.
First, the blast. Then the screams. A scramble to get children to safety in a residential central Gaza neighborhood. A weekend of missile strikes has killed dozens, according to the Gaza Ministry of Health. Among them, a mother and her 6 children, their bodies wrapped in white. An entire civilian family, says their grandfather, the oldest of whom was 15 years old and the youngest a year and a half. What was their crime? Underscoring the urgency of a ceasefire, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is back in Israel. His 9th such trip to the region since October. This time, hoping to nudge what negotiators are calling a bridging proposal over the finish line. Backed by Egypt and Qatar, the plan includes a ceasefire and release of hostages and prisoners. But there are sticking points, notably disputes over which Palestinians the Israelis are willing to release, and Israel's desire to maintain a military presence in Gaza. But the pressure is on.
The Biden administration wants to remove this issue from the campaign agenda of Kamala Harris. And for the sake of America maintaining its relationship with the rest of the Arab world, the war has to come to an end.
Before a Sunday cabinet meeting, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called Hamas obstinate. But many believe he too is obstinate. Angry anti-government protesters lit a fire in Tel Aviv Saturday and demanded an immediate deal for the safe return of the hostages. Like Rami Gonen, who just turned 24 in captivity, her family determined to celebrate.
We could choose stay at home and, be alone with our pain, but we chose different.
After 10 excruciating months, a choice to keep hope alive. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
In Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky has for the first time laid out a clear objective for his troops marching into Russia: create a buffer zone.
Знищити якомога більше російського потенціалу.
Zelensky said the goal is to destroy as much Russian war potential as possible, and creating a buffer zone in Kursk was part of it, with Kyiv destroying 2 bridges in the Russian region since Friday. Ukraine claims it's taken more than 80 settlements and more than 1,000 square kilometers. The bridge strikes here aimed at weakening Russian supply lines to the west. But the pace of Ukrainian advances has slowed. The situation, says this soldier, is getting more difficult. And while the world is watching Kursk, Russia has been slowly advancing in Ukraine's east on the frontline cities of Chasiv Yar, Torrential, and Pokrovsk.
Дякую вам, воїни. Дякую вам за силу.
Zelensky thanked some of the brigades protecting those cities by name. Analysts say so far Ukraine's Kursk offensive hasn't relieved the pressure there. Canada's 2 main railway companies are on the brink of a double work stoppage that could lead to massive disruptions. A 72-hour strike notice was issued tonight by the union representing workers at Canadian Pacific Kansas City. If no last-minute agreement is reached, thousands will strike starting Thursday. Meanwhile, the Canadian National Railway issued its own notice tonight to the Teamsters Union, saying it could start locking out workers on the same day. The labor dispute could seriously disrupt supply chains. It's been an emotionally taxing weekend for residents of Jasper, Alberta. Many are still reeling since their return on Friday, seeing up close their homes and communities devastated by wildfires. As Sam Sampson reports, the magnitude of the challenge ahead is now hitting home.
This is what swift Crescent looks like.
Some neighborhoods are unrecognizable, even for those who know them best.
724, 722. They have painted the numbers on the sidewalk so we know which is which and who's who.
Residents of Jasper have been allowed back into town since Friday, free to assess the damage inside homes still standing and just to take it all in.
It's really, really hard to walk through this.
Through the weekend, 800 residents visited the re-entry site in town, a place to check in about utilities, pick up cleaning supplies, or to get in touch with volunteers, like this nonprofit team of veterans. They sift through rubble for homeowners to recover sentimental or unsafe items, like this ammunition box.
So there's still many that have never seen their property since the devastation, since the fire went through. So a broad mixture of emotions.
The wildfire still burning in the national park is now considered held, meaning it's not expected to grow. The town is no longer under an evacuation alert, and businesses in the area are reopening. Parks Canada welcomed back visitors to these hot springs. The owners of this backcountry cabin site are getting back to work while dealing with the loss of their own home in Jasper.
I have a younger sister, so she's 9 years old. She loves the mountains. She loved our house and all of her friends at school. So that's really important for my family as well, is making sure that she can get that kind of normalcy and structure as soon as possible.
Right now, only residents and those helping to rebuild are allowed back in Jasper. It'll be a while before visitors can return.
Looking around behind me, the park is still here and it's still absolutely gorgeous. And when the time is right, we need you to come back.
Just not yet. Sam Sampson, CBC News, Edmonton.
In BC, salmon are beginning to migrate into rivers to lay their eggs. But with warmer, drier conditions, their journey upstream is becoming more and more perilous. Yvette Brend looks at why researchers are worried.
People gather here from all over to see salmon heading upstream.
They go from side to side to lay eggs and do the matchmaking and creating new life.
Those fish, a staple of BC's economy, are facing growing threats from drought, less snow, and low water levels. All take a toll.
This year in particular is alarming is because we didn't really rebuild those glacier-driven, snow-driven rivers. And so now we're starting to see the consequences of that play out.
And it's not just drought. Wildfires and storms can also hurt fish.
They end up experiencing a lot more stress and potentially, deaths and strandings.
The federal fisheries says they are working with First Nations to rebuild shorelines and replant cottonwood trees to offer shade and stability, especially in places hit by wildfire and drought. First Nations leaders along the Fraser River want more done.
It's concerning for me because in the past 20 years, I've been saying the water's getting warmer.
Today, off the coast of Haida Gwaii, this fisherman hopes his catch is a sign that salmon are adapting to climate change.
The first three lines that we checked, and there was a fish on every hook, so that gives you some sense of the abundance of fish that we're encountering up here.
But low river levels this year could spell disaster.
To lose the salmon, to be able to watch them do their thing, the food that they provide to the other wildlife, just the natural cycle of things would be devastating.
And ecologists say the impacts may not show up for another 4 years. Yvette Brend, CBC News, Vancouver.
There are growing questions about the Conservative plan to scrap the carbon tax. But will Pierre Poilievre's plan extend to corporate polluters?
Keep it or scrap it. The worst solution is stay undecided.
A frightening scene in Germany as a Ferris wheel catches fire. And a group of divers make a remarkable discovery.
Most shipwrecks of that age have collapsed in, but this was fully intact.
We're back into. In Austria, multiple cars were swept away by floodwaters as record rainfall battered parts of the country. The storm disrupted rail services and caused serious damage in some areas. On Saturday alone, Vienna's fire services received more than 450 emergency calls. The price of polluting in Canada has become a hot-button political issue. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has promised to rid consumers of the carbon tax if his party wins the next federal election. What's less clear is whether he plans to keep charging Canada's largest polluters. David Thurton now on the uncertainty it's creating for businesses.
If the industrial carbon price was eliminated, this carbon capture and storage facility could be at risk because there would be no profit from lowering emissions.
I think a price on carbon is an important part of that policy mix that helps to incentivize projects.
It's clear Pierre Poilievre wants to eliminate the consumer carbon tax and rebates.
Tax the tax! Tax the tax! Tax the tax!
Not so clear.
He will never tell us if he would keep the pollution pricing system for heavy industry.
Will he scrap the industrial carbon tax?
There is no industrial carbon tax on the oil and gas sector.
There is, though, a carbon price on industrial emissions.
If most people understand a carbon tax as carbon pricing, then it's true that there is a carbon price on industry.
Here's how it works. Most provinces and territories administer their own systems based on federal benchmarks on emissions and price. Firms that miss the benchmarks pay for credits. Firms that meet them can earn and sell credits for profit, like this American company wants to.
The reason we decided to go to Canada first is Canada has a price on carbon. So I can recover the higher cost of stripping out the CO2 with the price on carbon.
Dow Chemical is spending nearly $9 billion to decarbonize its Alberta plastics plant.
At the federal level, if they scratch, that price indication of the change, that is going to have a meaningful impact.
In other words, lose the price on carbon, risk losing the investment. For many, what's worrisome is the uncertainty.
Keep it or scrap it, the worst solution is stay undecided.
Industrial carbon pricing drives actually most of the technologies that they're working for.
Also, carbon pricing is by far the single most important climate policy, and if it remains, the Canadian Climate Institute says it could account for nearly 40% of Canada's greenhouse gas reductions in 2030. David Thurton, CBC News, Ottawa.
A tech company is looking to bugs to offset the effects of climate change, and some farmers are jumping on board.
It could ultimately mean some tremendous positive benefits that could extend far beyond our little postage stamp of a farm.
How insects could be the answer to cutting emissions, and
why, hello, it's me, Seth Rogen.
Actor Seth Rogen gets candid about Canada's move to legalize weed.
It's like technically legal, but it's still very illegal.
The National breaks down the stories shaping our world next. Terrifying scenes from a music festival in eastern Germany over the weekend. 2 gondolas of a Ferris wheel caught fire. At least 16 people were taken to hospital, none with life-threatening injuries. Police say flames spread when material under the Ferris wheel caught fire, though the investigation is still ongoing. Canada's farming industry is eyeing a more sustainable solution for raising pigs, chickens, and even fish, feeding them bugs. Researchers are experimenting with insect-based animal feed. As Alexander Silberman tells us, it could be a game changer for feeding the planet.
This room especially is an adult cage room.
These flies may not look appetizing, but they could be key to feeding the animals that help feed the planet. As production of animal feed puts a major strain on land and water, insects are being proposed as an alternative. At a Saskatoon lab, this agriculture tech company is betting big on black soldier fly larvae.
So insect farming will be completely a new direction to make the sustainable protein.
The lab breeds the flies in a controlled environment. The flies lay eggs, which become larvae, and those are ground up to make high-protein animal feed.
Whoa, that's a lot of them.
How do you convince people to start feeding their farm animals this?
The end product will not look like this. End product will be dry and then looks like a powder.
Insect feed is more expensive, but many farmers say they're considering it since it's better for the planet.
It could ultimately mean some tremendous positive benefits that could extend far beyond our little postage stamp of a farm.
This BC farm became one of the first in Canada to feed insects to its chickens, but they faced challenges, lost their supplier, and are now trying to breed flies themselves.
Being pioneering, it really is like being the first people to drive an electric car. You might have the car, but there's no charging stations.
While it may be challenging, this expert says insect feed is better for the environment because flies grow in a small space and can eat food waste.
We want to be using land, which is our precious resource, to be growing food for human consumption rather than for the animals that we eat.
Duncan says insect food could be widely used in Canada within the next few years, once technology helps lower the cost. Alexander Silberman, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Now let's break down the news shaping our world.
You giving each other butterfly kisses or something?
Seth Rogen has made some of the most memorable comedies of the last 2 decades.
Stay back, guys. I gotta get my suit, okay?
But as he enters middle age, Rogen's busy off-screen too, focusing on his other fascinations, cannabis and ceramics.
Pottery itself is temperamental and fickle and very dramatic, you know. You never know what's gonna happen.
From teenage stand-up comedian to Hollywood actor and filmmaker, and now branding baron. Earlier this year, Ian Hannah-Mansing caught up with Seth Rogen at his home in Los Angeles to break down the latest career moves by a Canadian who knows how to make people laugh.
Seth Rogen, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
So just next door to us is the world headquarters for Point Grey Pictures.
Yes,
and
you make it sound like they're
it's huge.
Like there's other
it's
headquarters. Yeah,
and the name is from your high school, Point Grey Secondary in Vancouver, which I drive by all the time. And honest to goodness, I think of you every time because I wonder, the young Seth Rogen at Point Grey, what was he like? So let me ask you.
Oh man, I don't know. He was, you know. He was not the coolest guy by any stretch of the imagination, but not the biggest loser either. We made a whole movie about it. I was a lot like the Jonah character in Superbad.
Look, we all know home ec is a joke. No offense. It's just like everyone takes his class to get an A. It's bullshit, and I'm sorry. And it's not putting down your profession, but it's just the way I feel.
All right, Jules' partner isn't here today either. Pair up with her, station 4.
Jules. All right, I'll give it another shot. Give home ec another shot.
That is a good representation of what I was like in high school.
Okay, but before we get there, I just saw the footage of a 13-year-old you.
It's true, but I also did stand-up comedy.
But I mean, you didn't just do stand-up. Like before I saw the video, I thought, am I going to cringe? Like, I don't care how talented a 13-year-old is. That is a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying it because I'm sitting across from you. You were fantastic in that.
Thank you.
There were five constipated men in the Bible. And the first constipated man was Cain. He was a table.
Like you were funny, which is good. But your manner was really good. So I'm thinking to myself, how do you square that, like, coolest guy in the room with the Superbad character?
Because I was not actually like that in high school. I was not cool in high school. I wasn't that bad, but I wasn't. I was really firmly in the middle. And when you tell kids in your high school you do stand-up comedy, that doesn't sound cool. That's not like traditionally cool.
But it gets better. You didn't just do stand-up comedy, you did improv.
I also did two of the coolest things.
And drama.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the only thing you were missing was band.
Exactly. We didn't have that in our high school. I probably would have done it. Yeah, so I did stand-up comedy. I think people were kind of fascinated by it, but it did not earn me like social cachet by any stretch of the imagination, no.
High school quarterback, stand-up comic.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Superbad, of course, the movie that you and your longtime friend, longtime creative collaborator, Evan Goldberg.
Yeah.
I mean, did you guys actually, were you writing notes for it while you were at Point Grey?
We were like writing the script while we were at Point Grey. Like we met in bar mitzvah class when we were 12, and then we knew we were going to go to high school together, and we knew we were going to go to Point Grey. And I had was starting to do stand-up comedy around that time, and Evan wrote like comedic short stories. Oh. And when you're like a kid who's creative and into a certain thing, and you find another kid who's like the only other kid you ever met who's like into that thing, it was like really lucky. And then our high school, Point Grey, was across the street from 2 video stores. There was a Blockbuster and a Rogers, like literally right across the street. And they had this thing where you can rent 5 movies for 5 days for $5. And so every weekend we would rent 5 movies and watch them. And the thing we would do more than anything, like we would spend more time doing this than actually watching the movies, just walking around the video store, looking at movies, talking about movies. What should we watch? Should we watch this? Reading the movies, the back of the box, all this stuff. And so then we became obsessed with movies. And then so this idea to write Superbad, like to turn our high school experiences into a movie, like developed pretty quick. We actually started like writing like a script when we were like 13 or 14 years old.
I love you.
I'm not embarrassed.
Love you.
I love you. It's like, why don't we say that every day? Why can't we say it more often?
I just love you. I just want to go to the rooftops and scream, I love my best friend Evan.
It's the most beautiful thing in the world.
Boop, boop, boop.
Let me ask you a random music question going back to Superbad. The Evan Goldberg character is forced to, under duress, sing a song.
He sings These Eyes.
Yeah, by the Guess Who.
Canadian band.
Nice little Easter egg.
Not a coincidence.
For us, yeah.
Michael Cera, a Canadian.
Yeah. But why did you choose that song?
It's a great song. We did a few songs, but Michael Cera, for sure, just sang that song the funniest.
Who's that guy?
Sing for us, sing. These eyes are crying. These eyes have seen a lot of love, but they're never gonna see another one like I have with you. These eyes are crying. These eyes have seen a lot of love, but they're never gonna see another one. I'm blue, I've been deed, I've been died, I've been deed, I've been died, I've been deed, I've been died, I've been deed.
I'm always curious about people with the kind of profile you have in this era of social media, because it can give you tremendous power to reach all kinds of people instantly, right? Like you can put something on social media right now.
I can end my career before this interview's over.
And if you do want to do that, let's just make sure we get
cool
it
if you guys film
on the reverse shot.
That's never happened. I don't think that's happened.
So end career, but also you can, but really like funny, like you could shoot a video, a selfie video that's hilarious and just put it out, and all of a sudden you're directly reaching people. But at the same time, we all know social media is this corrosive place. There, all the things that people will say there that they'd never say to your face. And I just wonder, like, how do you manage that?
I'd say my relationship with social media has evolved greatly over the years for the healthier. I now recognize it as like a, it's not a, from my experience, it is not a place where any serious thought can be conveyed or received. Like, it is a place where people like to argue, from my experience, and where people like to speak their minds, which is lovely, but they're kind of shouting, or for me, I found myself sometimes shouting into a void, or either shouting into a void or preaching to the choir, or just creating conflict where it was not needed, And so for me, I personally have stopped attempting to convey anything of meaning through social media. There are better ways for me to do that and to articulate the thoughts I have, if I feel like I should be, and to express those things. But I've stopped trying to use social media as like, for me, it's like a good way for me to show myself doing, put pottery videos out there and show myself making ashtrays and bowls and let people know when my movies and TV shows are coming out. And my life is much better as a result of that.
Coming up, Seth Rogen talks about his new CBC show, The Great Canadian Pottery Throwdown, and why cannabis might not be as legal as you think in Canada.
It should be as easy to buy weed as it is wine and beer. That's it. Alcohol kills thousands and thousands and thousands of Canadians every year, so which should be harder to get?
More from my conversation with Seth Rogen when we return.
Hi there, it's me, Seth.
Canadian actor and filmmaker Seth Rogen sounds off on two of his passions, pot
Really hard to have a weed business and to sell weed and to get weed.
and pottery.
I had no idea that Seth Rogen was into ceramics.
The expanding career of comedy's Renaissance man. Here's part 2 of Ian's chat with Seth Rogen.
Let's talk a little bit about where we're sitting, which is the headquarters of Houseplant. And as I look around here, I see, you know, kind of a few things that outside of your movie making are part of who you are. Right? And first of all is cannabis-related products. And a lot of people associate you with cannabis. Your kind of enthusiastic support of it, and you know, making it a normal part of your everyday life. No pun intended with normal. And so that message continues. I mean, what do you, I mean, this is an interesting time now because in Canada, it's legal.
Yeah.
People wondered if it would
Sort
turn.
of.
Yeah, what do you mean sort of?
I mean, as long as it's harder to buy weed than beer, there's like massive issues and a huge deliberate choice to ignore reality and science, and that still prevails in Canada. And so it's like technically legal, but it's still very illegal in many ways.
It's funny because in Vancouver, with all the stores, it feels like it's as easy to buy as beer, but
Can
maybe
you buy
not.
weed at a hockey game?
Right.
Can you
No,
buy
we
weed
cannot.
at the store? Can we
Yeah.
eat at a restaurant? Can we eat
Yeah.
at a bar? You know,
Mhm.
like all that stuff is why it's still stigmatized and why it's like not treated as in the way it should be treated, and it is definitively harder to get than things that are much more dangerous than it.
Yeah.
And that again is like a simple like conflict of reality, and effect, you know, and the choices that the government is making are like not congruent with reality, and so as long as that happens, it's, you know, things are not as they should be. So I think Canada has like done a lot of great things to legalize weed, but it's still very illegal in many ways.
Yeah.
It's still like really hard to have a weed business and to sell weed and to get weed in comparison to other things that are far more dangerous than it, you know?
Yeah, see, I hadn't thought about that. The hockey example of what you can buy and can't buy is interesting. So what should happen? You're a guy with a platform and influence. Well, at least a platform. I don't know if you have influence.
It should be as easy to buy weed as it is wine and beer.
Yeah.
That's it.
And for somebody who hears that and says, why? Why should it be?
Because it's less dangerous. So why should it be harder?
Yeah.
That's it. Alcohol kills thousands and thousands and thousands of Canadians every year. So which should be harder to get? That's what I would ask.
All right, so that's the first of the three things, because you have some products that are designed for people who smoke weed. Second thing I notice is just over your shoulder is ceramics, which obviously are a big part of your life. I had no idea that Seth Rogen was into ceramics until the new CBC show, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But that show aside, how did ceramics become part of your life?
My wife, Lauren, she kind of implored me to try it. She had done it in high school and had taken lessons here and there over the years. And, you know, I always was looking for creative outlets. I always had a lot of hobbies, photography, painting, gardening, different things like that. And, but yeah, and then she was like, I think you would really like pottery. And then we took a class, and then we became members of the studio, and then we built our own studio in our garage, and we really just kept going with it. And yeah, we both have like a strong passion for it, and we do it together all the time, which is really nice. And it's become something that has been like a great creative outlet for me, and also, something I can make television shows about.
Why, hello. It's me, Seth Rogen, here at Granville Island in Vancouver, British Columbia. It's where 10 potters will be facing off in the most extraordinary ceramics competition show that this country has ever seen.
So the Great Canadian Pottery Throwdown.
Yes.
For the people who haven't seen it, what would you tell them?
I'd say it's a very warm-hearted and cozy Canadian pottery reality competition show that is in the style of, like the Great British Bake Off, these other shows where you have a number of contestants and people are very wholesomely eliminated throughout the competition, ultimately leading to a winner.
Often competition shows are contrived and cutthroat.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem to be either one of those two things.
No, there's nothing contrived. Pottery itself is temperamental and fickle and very dramatic, you never know what's going to happen. And so and it's hard, so there's no need to contrive any drama in order for it to be good television, and the pottery community is like a very welcoming and warm one, and is not a mean or competitive group. It's actually like my favorite part of being a member at a studio was like the community there, and how you would help each other and learn things from each other. And you'd see someone doing something over there and be like, oh, how'd you do that? Because also pottery is like a lot of little tricks of the trade. You move your hand like this and this will happen. Use this tool and you can do this with it. So it really is like a community-based form in a lot of ways, And so, the show definitely reflects that tone and that mentality, and that it's very supportive. All the ceramicists really got along and liked each other a lot and were very nice to each other throughout the show.
And in keeping with that, there's not a $100,000 prize at the end, winner take all.
No, there's no prize. But they still really want to win.
You obviously, you and Evan really captured kind of adolescent life and made some great movies about that. But you're 41 now. Adolescence is way, way, way in the rearview mirror. And I just wonder, are there stories that you are writing or about to write that reflect where you are in life?
Very much so. Yeah, we're writing we're about to start shooting a TV show that we are writing and directing and producing, and I'm the star of. That is about a guy who makes movies, about a guy who works in a movie studio, and so it could not be more reflective of our lives. It's literally it's like we are taking things that happen to us and writing them into the show.
And it's a comedy, presumably.
It is a comedy, yes.
And then also
with Canadian Catherine O'Hara.
Ah, nice. and then also in terms of the creative process, you said you kind of stepped back from trying to have any kind of meaningful conversation on social media.
Yeah.
But at this time, this like super polarized time, when
even more so.
but you have the power, even if you stay away from social media, of using scripts and the creative world to address that. Has that motivated you at all to kind of take on contemporary issues, in whether it's comedy or just some sort of movie-making way?
I mean, we really do. I produce the show The Boys, which is a very, satirical when it comes to politics and, industrial complexes and corporate intervention in our day-to-day lives, And so, we have a lot of things that I work on that maybe I'm not at the forefront of, but that I'm involved in, that are very much a part of my perspective and what I am, very a part of putting out into the world, that are very reflective of my ideals and my outlook,
Well, it's really nice talking to you.
You too.
And in case you were wondering, you can stream the entire season of Seth Rogen's The Great Canadian Pottery Throwdown on CBC Gem. Next, a ship from the First World War gets discovered.
Divers were amazed at how intact she was.
The historic finding in our moment. One of the first striking images of HMS Hawk, a British cruiser that sank during the First World War and remained lost underwater for more than 100 years, now found off the Scottish coast. The search was done by a group of divers from Lost in Waters Deep. Tonight, their wartime discovery is our moment.
After so much time looking for her and researching, we'd finally found the remains of HMS Hawk. Most shipwrecks of that age have collapsed in and resemble not much more than junk heaps with interesting bits and pieces and artifacts, but this was fully intact. Her guns are still there, the propellers are still in place, the hull is still very intact. The divers were amazed at how intact she was. She was a British cruiser. She was quite old for her time served in the First World War. She was built in 1891. She was sunk by the U-9, which fired one of her torpedoes and hit the Hawk square on the starboard side, causing the damage. The Hawk sunk within 8 minutes. 524 sailors were lost. There was only 70 survivors. She was large, 7,000 tons, about 120 meters long, and is really one of the last, if not the last, First World War cruisers to be found. We were able to put a final, let's say, full stop to the end of her story.
Looks frozen in time. Another bit of history in this story: before the ship sank, it had collided with another ship called the RMS Olympic. The captain of that ship went on to become the captain of the Titanic. Thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Christine Birak. Take care.